A very good evening and a warm welcome to your midweek dose of primetime news with me, Salima Shimwe-Feleni. Leading our top news tonight, the National Assembly was a divided house on Tuesday when Prime Minister Sarah Kuhongerwa-Amadila tabled the widely contested genocide deal brokered between the German and Namibian governments for ratification. The genocide discussion was initiated in the National Assembly in 2006 by then Ovaherero Paramount Chief and National Unity Democratic Organization leader, the late Kwaima Riwako.
If the negotiating team wanted to negotiate on genocide, and this is what Germany, that's the best that Germany could offer. I would even go further than saying that, Right Honorable Prime Minister, if he were to represent the affected communities, you could have withdrawn from that negotiation because Germany was abusing you. It was abusing the Namibian government to the fullest. They don't have regard to you because you went in there as beggars. People who just wanted to say, well, we accept anything that you give us, because perhaps you could care less. Okay. Because you don't feel the same pain that the affected community are actually feeling.
If I had it in my power this afternoon, I will, and if I had the statement of the Prime Minister in my hands today, I could have done like this and throw it to the dustbin. I could have done that today. Yes. Because what the Prime Minister said to this House today is absolutely, and I don't know what word I must use, I must just say it is a statement that is devoid of the truth, and it's an insult to those that fought and died for this country liberation. I must put it on record, Honorable Speaker, this afternoon, that NUTO in particular reject with the contempt it deserved the attitude and the statement made by the Prime Minister this afternoon in his House. Honorable Prime Minister, your government betrayed the Herero and Nama people of this republic. Your government betrayed the legacy of Chief Kwaima Riwako, who brought this parliament, the motion to this parliament.
SWAPO, the government has become neo-colonizers. If people who didn't study politics, go and get yourself a textbook. I'm not going to express myself and explain issues that everyone is supposed to know as a government. They are colonizers, that they've betrayed us, end of story.
Responding to their input, Kuhongerwa-Amadila maintained that government had the best interest of the affected communities at heart.
The government cannot betray its own people. We know that we will differ on how things are done. We may be discontent with the outcome of the efforts, and as I have said, I understand that, but I think that we will not do justice to ourselves as a nation to really go to an extent where we would feel that our government would betray us. Yeah, it will not help us. I cannot deny you the right to express that. This is a democracy, and you can say, I'm just saying that it is not helpful to ourselves, including as individuals that are verbalizing that, because really there can be no way that the government would not be true to its own people and will not be committed to a cause that is a national cause, that is in the best interest of our communities and also our citizens.
Despite rising COVID-19 cases among learners, the Minister of Education, Arts and Culture, Anangi Pondoka, maintains that children are safer in school than they are at home.
Nyipondoka, while responding to questions in the National Assembly on Tuesday, said schools have everything they need to ensure a safe environment for both learners and teachers. She was responding to questions by Popular Democratic Movement parliamentarian Elma Dienda, who wanted to know why children are still required to go to school while parents are encouraged to work from home. Dienda wanted to find out what additional measures have been put in place to address the rising COVID-19 cases among learners, whom she fears are taking the virus back home and infecting their households. Dienda said several schools, especially in commerce, have been closed due to rising cases. In response, Ngipondoka said the ministry has guidelines in place which they continue to update to ensure the safety of learners and teachers.
When we reopened the schools, we came up with a well-documented curriculum resilience plan, which is covering everything that a school should do. When it comes to the availability of resources, schools are availed with soaps, sanitizers, and everything that they need.
She, however, said the challenge the ministry is facing is a lack of social distancing at some schools, but they have been advised to adopt a system which allows children to be spaced out in classrooms and hostels where possible.
The Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism has confirmed the presence of elephants in the vicinity of the town of Katima Mulilo in the Zambezi region, cautioning residents to take extra care.
The ministry's public relations officer Romeo Muyunda, in an interview with Nampa on Tuesday, said the elephants have been observed in the vicinity of the town since Monday morning. He said a number of reports of their tracks in people's houses have been received, as well as reports of them destroying people's house fences. He said the elephants are believed to have migrated from Zambia as they normally do on an annual basis, and cautioned residents to be on the lookout for the animals. Muyunda added that wardens from the ministry are on standby.
And now, news from beyond our borders. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa on Tuesday placed Health Minister Zweli Mkhize on special leave, announced the presidency. This comes after the Health Department awarded a controversial contract to a company called Digital Vibes and paid it over 150 million rand, which is equivalent to $11 million to do some communication work.
Digital Vibes is managed by people with connections with the health minister and who used to work for the department. The statement released by the presidency stated that this special leave would allow the minister to deal with the corruption allegations. This period of special leave will enable the minister to attend to allegations and investigations concerning contracts between the Department of Health and the service provider, Digital Vibes, said the presidency in a statement. The special investigating unit is investigating this matter, and the president awaits a report on the outcome of this probe. Tourism Minister Mamoloko Kubai Ngubane has been appointed to act as health minister until further notice.
Stand by for your top roundup. And a look at what's latest in the world of business and economics. The Kurenkuru Town Council has commenced with Phase 1 of the servicing of over 300 ovens through a partnership with the Development Bank of Namibia, the Town Council's Chief Executive Officer, Petrus Sidimba, said on Tuesday. The oven are situated in Extension 6, Sidimba told the Namibia Press Agency in an interview.
Last year, The Development Bank of Namibia signed an agreement with the Nkurenkuru Town Council for a feasible study for the town's proposed Extension 6, funded by the bank's Project Preparation Fund. The bank provided 25 million Namibian dollars as a grant, which would also fund the provision of bulk services for the land if found feasible. The extension contains an allocation of service land for residential and business purposes, as well as government, local authority and institutional entities vital to delivering social services to the residents of Nkurenkuru and the Kavango West region. The project is definitely feasible as the contractors are currently laying potable water pipes and have already dug trenches, laid sewer pipes and constructed manholes, Sidimba said. The 300 even have been demarcated, while space for roads has also been cleared. The CEO said 7 main roads will be tarred and the rest gravelled. Phase 1 of the project is expected to be completed in September.
The U.S. Energy Information Administration, EIA, said in a report on Tuesday that global oil production will increase to match rising levels of global oil consumption in the coming months, leading to relatively balanced global oil markets.
In its June short-term energy outlook, the EIA expected rising oil production will end the persistent global oil inventory draws that have occurred for much of the past year and lead to relatively balanced global oil markets in the second half of 2021. The EIA said the rising oil production in the forecast is largely a result of the OPEC Plus decision to raise production. Earlier this month, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies, collectively known as OPEC Plus, agreed to continue their existing plan to gradually increase oil production through July. According to the EIA, Brent prices will remain near current levels in the third quarter this year, averaging $68 per barrel. However, in 2022, the EIA expected that continuing growth in production from OPEC Plus and the accelerating growth in U.S. tight oil production, along with other supply growth, will outpace decelerating growth in global oil consumption and contribute to declining oil prices. Based on these factors, the EIA expected Brent price to average $60 per barrel in 2022.
We will be back after the Business and Economics Roundup. That's all the top news we had for you this evening. Kindly stand by for your sports update with Shelva Wells.
Thank you, Salima. Good evening and welcome to Sport Planet. A financial settlement worth a combined $31 million has been reached between England's 6 Super League rebel clubs and the Premier League, the PA News understands.
Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United and Tottenham announced themselves as founder members of the competition on April 18, but had withdrawn within 72 hours in the wake of fan protest and opposition from the Premier League, UEFA, FIFA and even the British government. The clubs indicated their intention to remain in the Premier League, but their involvement in the Super League would have had a hugely negative competitive and commercial effect on the English top flight. Sky News reported the settlement this afternoon, and sources within one of the clubs have subsequently told PA that agreement has been reached, with clubs facing a £25 million fine and a 30-point deduction if there are further attempts to break away. It is understood the money will go to grassroots and community projects rather than to other Premier League clubs.
Neymar scored 1 goal and set up another as Brazil continued their perfect start to the South American 2022 World Cup qualifiers with a 2-0 win over Paraguay on Tuesday.
Neymar gave the visitors the lead in the 4th minute when he took a touch to control a Gabriel Jesus cross before rifling a shot into the bottom left corner. Lucas Paqueta, who replaced Manchester United midfielder Fred at halftime, put the result beyond doubt in the 93rd minute by latching onto Neymar's through ball with a first-time effort that rebounded in off the post. Brazil now have 6 wins from as many matches and hold a 6-point lead over second-placed Argentina in the 10-team South American group. Paraguay fell to 6th, 11 points off the pace. In other South American qualifiers on Tuesday, Bolivia held Chile to a 1-1 draw in Santiago, Colombia and Argentina drew 2-2 in Barranquilla, Peru beat Ecuador 2-1 in Quito, while Venezuela and Uruguay played out a goalless draw in Caracas.
Your sports roundup is next. We have come to the end of Wednesday's newscast. We thank you for tuning in. As always, give us a thumbs up and share. If you are new to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe as well as click on the notifications bell to stay posted on the latest happenings locally and globally. Do make a date with us on the morrow as well as the rest of the week's dosage of primetime news. From myself and the entire crew behind the scenes, it's good night.